What's good, y'all? There's no real way around it. This end of January stretch in the NBA, usually there's a little bit of a lull. It's before the trade deadline, before the All-Star break, but after Christmas and the in-season tournament, not much goes on in the NBA world in January. So to spice things up, I decided I want to try to predict the top 25 players in the NBA 5 years from now. That would be 2030, so I think it would be pretty cool, the start of a new decade at that point. And I think it'll be fun to kind of look back at this video 5 years from now to see how wrong I got it, because respectfully, I'm going to be getting some stuff wrong in this video. Also, a quick disclaimer here, I only am including players that are currently in the NBA right now on this list. I know you could be expecting a Cooper Flagg, an Ace Bailey, maybe even a high school senior that you know about on this list. Me personally, I'm not a big college basketball guy. I'm not a big high school basketball guy. So I don't watch these players enough to have an opinion on them. So I'm not including them on this list. I broke up the players into groups of 5. I'll put them up on the screen along with the age that they will be in 2030. And without further ado, let's get into the first group of players. Starting at 25, I have Jaren Jackson Jr. At 24, Donovan Clingan. At 23, Ja Morant. 22, Trae Young, and 21, Tyrese Halliburton. I do want to give a quick shout out to D-Book. He was the first guy left off the list here. He would be 33 in 2030, and I think he's a guy that his game will age very well. He doesn't really rely too much on athleticism to get his buckets. I think he'll still be able to, get his scoring going, his playmaking there. I think he'll still be one of those guys that ages gracefully in the NBA. But to look at this top 25, the first guy that made it is Jaren Jackson Jr. I really like what we've been seeing from Jaren, specifically in these last few seasons. Offensively, at least, he's grown so much on that side of the floor and is already a Defensive Player of the Year winner. I really feel like Jaren's going to continue to solidify himself as one of these top players in the league as the years go on and as he continues to progress. And then at 24, I have another defensive big, Donovan Clingan. This might be the biggest stretch or the biggest guess that I made on this video, considering he's only a rookie and we haven't really seen him too much with Portland, between the fact that they have a bazillion centers over there and also Donovan has been kind of dealing with knick-knack injuries throughout his rookie season. He hasn't been on the court too often, but when he is and when I'm watching him, he is a force on both sides of the floor, being so big with those big arms. Defensively, he owns the paint with blocks, rebounds the ball incredibly well, and offensively, he has great touch. He's shown flashes of being a playmaker as well out of the post. I love what I see from Donovan Clingan. Again, this is big projections, but I'm pretty confident in this one. Then to finish off this group, I have 3 point guards who at that point will be in their prime or towards the back end of their prime. I do think that all 3 of these guys are near top 25 to actually top 25 players currently right now, and I think 5 years from now they'll continue to be that. Now moving on to our next group of players. At 20, I have Donovan Mitchell. 19, I have Scottie Barnes. 18 is Alex Sarr. 17, Brandon Miller, and 16, LaMelo Ball. It's pretty fun to me to see the discourse around Scottie Barnes, because I feel like some people view him as a really high potential basketball player and a guy that can be a 1A on a championship level team. And then on the other hand, I see people that say he doesn't really do anything, like he's a jack of all trades but master of none type of guy. Me personally, I'm pretty high on Scottie Barnes. As you guys see, I have him on this list. I just love that he is such a versatile player. Not only defensively, he's shown a lot, but offensively, he can score. His three-point shot has taken some steps in these last few seasons, and then also getting to the rim with his big body. Playmaking, he's been a little bit of a point forward in Darko Rajakovic's system. I really like what I see from Scottie Barnes, and I'm going to stay on the bandwagon and continue supporting him throughout these next few seasons, because I feel like it's only a matter of time. I think that the Raptors just have to get some more talent on their roster and stay healthy, and I think Scottie Barnes will start to emerge. I also have Alex Sarr on this list, and spoiler alert, him and Donovan Clingan are the only 2 guys from this current rookie class that are in this list. And then also Alex Sarr will be the youngest player in 2030 that's on this list, so I have a lot of high hopes for Alex Sarr. We've seen already a lot of his defensive capabilities and his versatility from his physical attributes of being such a long and lengthy guy while also being able to move his body on the perimeter. Defensively, I think he's going to be great, and he is already pretty good at that. And then offensively, he shows flashes of being a Wemby light, if you want to say, just being that 7-footer that can operate on the perimeter, whether that's jump shots or getting him to the basket by himself with his creation. I really think that Alex Sarr is going to be one of the best two-way players in the NBA. It's just going to be a matter of time. And then shout out to the Hornets here, having LaMelo Ball and Brandon Miller back-to-back on this list. I know there's a lot of rumors on if they should move off of LaMelo Ball and just kind of do a mini reset in their rebuild. I'm not a fan of that. I think that's pretty unfair because Brandon Miller and LaMelo have barely played together. I think it'll take some time. I think it'll take some health as well, and also just adding more talent around these two guys, but I do think that they can work it out, and I hope they stick together throughout it. Now moving on to this next tier, the last group of guys that did not make the top 10. At 15, I have J-Dub, Jalen Williams. At 14, I have Tyrese Maxey. 13 is Jalen Johnson. 12 is Franz Wagner, and 11 is Amen Thompson. I do think it's pretty funny here that in this list, except for Tyrese Maxey, all of these guys are anywhere from 6'6" to 6'9", super versatile wing players, and I do think that that's the future of the NBA. These archetype of players that are athletic, do multiple things on the court, can play multiple positions, guard multiple positions. I really think that that's the future of the NBA we're looking at, and that's why I have a lot of these guys ranked so high on this list. I've been on record before saying that I value versatility a lot when it comes to players, just because when your shot's not falling, you need to impact the game in other ways, and all of these guys do that incredibly well. Jalen Williams, if his shot's not falling, he could still get out in transition, push the pace for you, lock in defensively, and guard multiple positions, show a little bit of playmaking in that as well. A lot of those same things could be said about Jalen Johnson, about Franz Wagner, Amen Thompson, and that's why I really love all of these players individually. And when you look at Amen Thompson, aside from the two rookies that I have on this list, he might be the worst player currently on this list that I have, but I have him projected to be a top 11 player soon, and that just shows how much faith I have in Amen Thompson. I really think that he's going to be incredible in this league. In just year 2, he already has an argument to be an all-defensive player. He is one of the most versatile defenders in the NBA. Will get you those steals, will get you those blocks, a real defensive playmaker, one of the best, if not the absolute best athletes in the NBA right now. Super smart player and super willing player to get better and grow. Already from his rookie season to now, there's a lot of improvement on his three-point shot. It's still really bad, don't get me wrong, but just the acceptance or the willingness to grow in that aspect really makes me very excited to see how much his game will grow in the years to come, because already it's looking fantastic. And now we're moving on to the top 10. At number 10, I have Evan Mobley. At 9, Nikola Jokic. 8 is Chet Holmgren. 7 is Cade Cunningham, and 6 is Jason Tatum. Shout out to Nikola Jokic. He is the oldest player on this list, still included in the top 10. He's the number 1 player in the NBA right now. 5 years from now, he's obviously going to regress, but I think that his game will really age well because he doesn't rely on athleticism a lot. Basically, his game is based off of his IQ, his touch, and his positioning, his post skills, his strength. A lot of those things you can have in your older age. It really just depends on if Nikola Jokic wants to play basketball that long. For the sake of me and my sanity, I'm going to hope he plays for at least another 5 years, because just watching him play, I can't get enough of. I can't imagine him not being in the NBA. So we're going to go out on a limb and say he plays an extra 5 years, and in that case, he will still be a top 10 player. And he's surrounded by Chet Holmgren and Evan Mobley, two very similar players in my eyes, great two-way centers, guys that will lock down the paint and be great shot blockers with their length, but also offensively can stretch the floor for their team, can create for themselves as well, and get their buckets going. These two guys, I think, are the future of centers in the NBA, these archetypes of centers that are slim and can still move their feet and switch out and be versatile defensively while also stretching the floor and be able to create for themselves. Then I have Cade Cunningham on here, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. I am a proud member of the Cade Cunningham fan club. I never switched up on him, even though there was those talks about people saying that he wasn't going to be an all-star. He's not a 1A type of guy for Detroit. A lot of that has been shut up this season. I know they're still having those dumb conversations about his turnovers. Get him some more talent on his team, and I promise you that will go down. Get him a second ball handler. promise you that will go down. Still very, very high on Cade Cunningham. I do think that he will be one of the faces of the league in the future. That's why I have him so high. And then just barely outside of the top 5, I have Jason Tatum. I could see you making an argument that he will be top 5. He is borderline top 5 right now and going to be borderline top 5 for the majority of his career if I had to assume. He's just one of those guys that does it all, and I do think that that kind of hurts him a little bit since he's been doing it all for so long. People kind of get blinded by his greatness. Shout out to JT though. He will be and is one of the best players in the NBA. And here we are, my top 5 projected players in the NBA in 2030. At 5, we have Anthony Edwards. 4, Paolo Banchero. 3, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. 2, Luka Doncic. And of course at number 1, Victor Wembanyama. Anthony Edwards has improved so much as a player in these last 2 seasons alone that when I project that going forward with his work ethic and his mindset, what he already can do on the court, I really don't see a situation where he's not a top 5 player in this league with his scoring mentality of just whoever's in front of him, he doesn't care. He's getting a bucket on you, whether that's his newfounded amazing three-point shot or his bread and butter, getting to the basket, dunking on you, going around with the contested layups. Whatever it is, Anthony Edwards, when he wants to put his head down and get a bucket, he will do that, and I really expect him to continue that for years to come. All I'm saying is if he just improves his playmaking the same way he improved his three-point shot, he's going to be an unstoppable player. Same thing goes with Paolo Banchero. I mean, when he came into the league, one of his biggest issues was his three-point shot. Rookie season, really, really bad. Then his sophomore year, it was pretty good. And then in the playoffs, it got even better. Now this season, he's shooting about like 35% from 3, which is great when you pair that with his size and his ability to get to the basket, his post-up game, the mid-range. The way he has just improved year in and year out, I really expect that to continue going forward. He just has the archetype of a player that will lead his team to victory at one point. And then these top 3 guys, I feel like it's pretty consensus and pretty easy to predict these guys being the top 3. I would be pretty surprised if it was anyone but these 3 guys. Of course, Shai, Luka, and Victor Wembanyama. For Luka and Shai, I was debating going back and forth with these 2 guys. I wasn't sure who I wanted to put at 2, who I wanted to put at 3. Both of these guys are pretty much in the beginnings of their primes right now. 5 years from now, they will still be in their primes. These guys are going to be the faces of the league, the guys that the NBA markets to be the next LeBron, the next Steph, the next KD. That's who these guys are going to be. I'm excited for it. I think they could do incredibly well. When I look at Victor Wembanyama, I really feel like there's no way he's not the best player in the NBA in 5 years from now. Again, I'm talking about growth year in and year out. From his rookie season to now his sophomore year, he's already going to be an all-NBA player. He's going to be an all-star, going to be maybe even defensive player of the year in year 2. That literally blows my mind. He's just getting better and better and better, damn near by every game. 5 years from now, I can't even fathom what we're going to be seeing Wemby do on the basketball court. What do you guys think of my list? Make sure you leave in the comments below who I left off, because I promise you, I definitely left someone off. So if you want to be a part of the guys that we can look back at and be like, oh, they got it right, make sure you put your thoughts in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave it a like. Subscribe so you don't miss the next one. In the description, there's links to all my social medias, so make sure you follow me on all those to keep up to date with me. Catch y'all.